Let's say, just for the sake of chaos, that every single human on the planet decided to jump. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, just physically. All 8 billion of us, give or take a few late sleepers and distracted texters, somehow agreed on a date and a time to jump simultaneously. You're probably imagining something dramatic. Maybe the Earth cracks in half. Maybe we knock the planet slightly out of orbit and plunge into the sun. Maybe somewhere in a secret room deep within the Pentagon, an alarm labeled, "Everyone just jumped," begins blaring. Let's see what would actually happen. First, the logistics. Coordinating 8 billion people to do anything at the same time is ambitious. We're talking about people in different time zones, on different continents, in different weather conditions, all with different opinions about jumping. But fine, let's assume we've solved world peace, internet lag, and bathroom breaks just long enough to count to 3. 1, 2, 3, jump. For a brief moment, humanity is airborne. Every single person on Earth has leapt an average of 0.3 meters into the air. That might not sound like much, but you're picturing a tidal wave of force, right? A seismic event to end all seismic events? Let's do the math. The average human weighs about 62 kilograms. Multiply that by 8 billion, and you get roughly 500 billion kilograms of meat, bones, and questionable decision-making. Now imagine all of that jumping at once. The total energy involved sounds impressive, about 20 gigajoules. That's the energy equivalent of roughly 5 tons of TNT. Not bad, definitely enough to ruin a parking lot, or at least make pigeons nervous. But Earth doesn't care. To put it into perspective, a single magnitude 1 earthquake releases around 60 megajoules. Our synchronized global leap releases a fraction of that. It wouldn't even register on most seismographs. At best, a few overly dramatic seismologists might spill their coffee and blame the intern. But what about momentum? If we all jumped in one direction, say eastward, could we push the Earth westward? In theory, yes. In practice, no. The Earth is a massive ball of rock weighing 6 septillion kilograms. That's a 6, followed by 24 zeros. If all of humanity jumped in the same direction at the same time, we would move the Earth back 0.01 meters. That's less than the width of a proton. So, technically yes, but also, emphatically, no. Okay, so maybe we don't shift the Earth. But could we generate a shock wave? Could we break a few windows? Maybe set off a car alarm? Could we, at the very least, bounce? Let's zoom in on one location. Say we all meet in one giant open field, say the state of Texas, because, of course, it's always Texas. Now that we're all jumping on the same patch of land, the impact is more concentrated. Could that do something? Actually, yes. Now you're talking about 8 billion people hitting the ground at once in a relatively small area. The force would be enormous, enough to compress the soil slightly, crack a few foundations, and terrify every armadillo in a 100-mile radius. The noise alone might be heard for miles, but even then, it's not planet-shattering. More like concert vibrating. Still, let's be generous. Let's say the jump was perfectly synchronized. Let's say we chose a cold, hard granite plateau instead of a field. Let's say every single person landed heel first for maximum impact. At best, the result would be equivalent to a small bomb. The ground might tremble. Dust would rise. Someone would definitely sprain an ankle. But tectonic plates? They wouldn't even blink. But hang on. We've only talked about the downward motion. What about the upward part? For a few glorious milliseconds, humanity is airborne. Is this our moment? Do we finally break free from Earth's gravitational pull? Nope. Sorry. Gravity wins again. We rise 0.3 meters, stall mid-air, and then plummet back down like confused potatoes. No orbit achieved. No space travel. No high fives with satellites. Just gravity, doing its thing. However, there's one thing we could break. Not the planet, but ourselves. A jump coordinated on such a scale would have risks. People would collide. Kids would be launched by their over-enthusiastic parents. Elderly jumpers might forget how knees work. Emergency rooms would be overwhelmed by sprained ankles, jammed toes, and one guy who thought it was a good idea to jump off his roof at the same time. So, no, jumping together won't shatter the Earth. It won't knock the planet into a new orbit. But it will cause a lot of bruises, some confused scientists, and one very disappointed action movie director. But hey, maybe we don't need to move mountains. Maybe the point isn't to shake the planet, but to do something, anything, together for once. Even if it's just jumping. And let's be honest, for one brief, weightless moment, with the whole world in the air, there's something kind of magical about that. Just try to land softly.